Welcome on in. It's another edition of the Clap Your Hands podcast. I'm Jack Fritz.
Another edition.
Another one. We're just
one.
here all the time.
Exactly.
Just pumping them out at this point.
Yeah, and we are quick.
Yeah.
We are quick. Eliot Shorr-Parks, you just heard him, and James Jackson, the insider you need at all these games. Sorry to hear, but last night, freaking Knicks, man.
You just knew they were going to lose the first Joel game. It was the lock of the century.
We're in a tough stretch going against some New York teams.
Yeah, it's not going well.
Besides the Jets and Giants, who are obviously a disaster.
And the Phillies lost to the Mets.
Yes, and the Knicks beat the Sixers in the playoffs, and they beat them last night.
Yep.
Spike's here. It's all disaster.
Spike's here. He won't go away.
He won't go away.
Still here.
It's all disaster. And last night, Embiid made his return. PG, they ran into each other in the third quarter. That was awesome. So, James, you were there last night. What was kind of your big picture takeaway? How was the crowd? What was it?
Yeah, I'm sure they were pumped.
What was it like last night at the Farg?
I don't know if I should be this surprised at how many Knicks fans were in the Wells Fargo Center last night for a fan base who kind of in a sports city who prides themselves on traveling well and being such a home court atmosphere. We
talking about Philly?
Yeah, we
do.
No,
I'm just
Philly in general. Yeah, we do
yeah.
let the Knicks come in and invade the Wells
every
Fargo
time.
Center. It's pretty bad. The amount of people that were still there after the blowout. But yeah, big picture takeaway first. And I think we all knew this in the back of our mind, and we let the excitement kind of distract us from it. But Embiid was going to look sluggish when he came out and started. He was going to look slow. He was going to look really rusty. And I know there was a lot of kind of naive optimism, hoping that wasn't the case, hoping that he was going to hit the ground running, especially since he's been 5-on-5 practicing the last week and a half. It just wasn't the case.
So let me just say this quickly. I'll give the prerequisites. Embiid's a great player. He's my second favorite Sixer of all time.
Yeah.
He's awesome. He's a great guy.
Disclaimers out, yeah.
I'm so sick of the, he comes back and it's he needs a few games. Here's the deal.
He does.
But here's the deal, man. If you're only going to play in 35 games this year, then you don't get 5 of those to be getting back in shape.
You'll get there.
I'm not even saying, you are right. It takes time to get back in basketball shape. I'm not disputing that. It felt last night to me felt like the beginning of the exact same movie.
It is inevitable
1,000 times, it is inevitable. Everyone's excited he's gonna play. There's a cool picture of him walking in the stadium. Oh, he's back. Oh, look, he's doing the celebration thing. Oh, but he didn't play that well because he was rusty. But that's okay. I get your point. I do, and I think what you're saying is factually correct. We all knew he was gonna look like that, but I can't do the excuse anymore.
I feel your frustration. It's a necessary hurdle that we have to go. Whenever he started, it was we had to get through this. We had to get through him knocking the rust off, him looking back for whatever. Hopefully it doesn't last too long.
Can we just break down for 1 second the progression of Eliot Shorr-Parks in this podcast from when we started? I would just say a little doey-eyed.
Yeah.
The Sixers are the greatest.
They are. They were.
Standings matter.
You're not even energized about the NBA Cup. I know. It's just, I look at you and I just see a broken man. You're so broken,
dude. It's so funny. So I was listening to Zach Bryan today, as one does.
Oh, right. It's a good time to listen.
Yeah. Topical time for Zach Bryan. And he has that line in the song. It's these aren't the hopeful hands you used to hold. And it's my hands, I have no more hope.
Do you shed a huge thug tear when that?
I do. Yeah, he does the line. I pour it out. Yeah, exactly.
Poster and
that line resonates with me. It's I used to have so much hope, and now I feel like one of those Sixers fans I used to hate.
Well,
I've become
wake me up in the second round.
Yeah, wake me up in the second round. And Embiid's always hurt. This is I feel those things.
Well, the other Zach Bryan lyric you could use is the only things you ever own are high hopes and a pocket comb, you fool.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So
you're up next. Get your Zach.
Yeah.
Do some digging.
Again, a great time to be a Zach Bryan fan. So
something in the aura.
Yeah, that's right. But it's just. But I feel you too. Embiid, it was coming out. He's going to play on the Knicks game, and we're talking yesterday. And I'm listening to Spike, and he's getting, trying to get excited for it.
Right.
Ike is excited to see Embiid. I'm just sitting there. I'm just saying to myself, what am I getting excited for? He's gonna come back. He's not gonna look great.
Right.
He's gonna be in and out of the lineup. The whole atmosphere around the team feels so morose, And even it's somehow. Embiid's whole thing is somehow overshadowed the added Paul George. Yeah. And Paul George had 29
Paul
points.
George had his best game as a Sixer last night, and not too much about it.
Not at all.
I didn't hear too much about it.
Well, and what's crazy about last night with Embiid, I actually thought physically he moved well. Like there was a defensive possession late in the game. I forget it was the third or fourth quarter. And he was like doing pretty well on Brunson. And Brunson got the foul call, which he is a big time lean into somebody and get the foul call back.
He's the new Chris Paul.
Classic cheating Nova players. But like
they are unbelievable.
Yeah, it's really sick how they don't respect the game.
And we won't mention everything that's happening with Nova right now, maybe later in the podcast, because we have more important things to get to.
The little side eye was
a little holy war
was
maybe
instigating
didn't go well
as hell over there.
But
I'm not in a good place.
Like I get that he wasn't in good basketball shape, and I do agree he looked tired, which that's okay. He needs time.
Yeah,
right?
listen,
like no big deal.
It's okay to be tired.
Yeah, it's only the 12th game of the season or whatever it is. Yeah, it's okay to be tired.
A little helmet tap if you
he needs a nap. But like,
Maybe he should not have gone to shoot around. If you're gonna be tired,
that's a good point.
Just stay.
Yeah, just
take the morning off.
More.
You'll see you for the game, big fella.
Like, so physically, I thought he actually moved well, and I do think he looks skinnier for sure. Like when you see him out there, he does look skinnier. Like they lost. I don't.
Have you gotten to the point yet where I think a lot of people got to a couple years ago, being frustrated whenever he shoots a three?
No, I'm not there yet. I'm still okay with it.
Although
a
month from now, you will.
Watching Karl Anthony Towns shoot threes, it's a very different. Like he nailed those first 3 threes. But
it's also interesting.
He's
to see
good.
Cat.
I was right about him.
Yeah, you might have been.
It's interesting to see like Karl Anthony Towns catch a rebound and like run out to the three, like instead of like just turn around and put it up as a 7-foot setter. Like that. That is what I could not.
I respect
deal with.
the commitment, and
I couldn't deal with that.
Yeah.
Well,
if I was an Knicks fan,
it's how I used to play basketball. I would never mix it up just get to the 3-point line. So I
just stayed at the 3-point line.
He showed an annoying level of toughness last night, Kat. I mean, there was that one time where he got the rebound and stayed under the basket and threw it back out for the three.
What do you finish with last
It's
night?
easy to...
He finished with 21, okay? Yeah. And like this, not to curse on the podcast, but he had 10 points in the first quarter. I had 25.
A betting thing.
Of course it was a betting thing.
Yeah.
He couldn't get 25 plus after 10 in the first quarter.
Yeah, he looked like he was about to drop 30.
But to your point, he looked kind of annoyingly fearless. It's easy to have that kind of confidence and bravado when you know your matchup is not close to 100%. Like Embiid's been going through all of this. I look at he's got a big, huge knee brace on his left knee.
The brace is
massive.
Yeah,
it looks like what Gronk used to wear on his arm. It's huge. And so when I'm seeing that, I'm seeing he moves well, but I can see moving laterally. He's not 100%, and I'm a mobile center. Like
right.
If Cat showed that kind of toughness against 100% Embiid, different. Him showing that against an Embiid making a season debut last night,
but Cat
can be tough.
I don't know. I'm honestly curious for your opinion on this. Like, how much better do we think Embiid's going to look? Like, that brace is massive. He's not going to play 8 straight games to get in game shape. Like, all season, we're going to deal with Now, we'll see if he plays tonight.
Dude, it's interesting he's playing that. But to answer your question,
we might play.
I do. Like he's going to look better, and he's going to look more confident in his movements. Like there were times last night where you could see him shy away from contact in the beginning of the game, not really go down there and fight for loose balls, fight for an extra rebound, fight for position, and that's because like he doesn't want to go do that for the first time and have his knee bumped.
Yeah, but
like that, there's confidence. There's going to be confidence, like you say, game shape, getting into basketball where he's going to do that and look better.
Yeah, but at the same time. He played the Olympics and then has been playing 5-on-5. He didn't re-injure it apparently, so why can't he do that stuff?
Well, so all this does lend itself to me to like there is no plan. Like this was just he was hurt and couldn't play.
Yeah.
Like because
no, opposite. I think this was all precautionary. Like they got fined because the NBA deemed that he was healthy and the Sixers were holding him out.
See,
I think this was all precautionary from the Sixers. Sixers said to him, since you went and played in the Olympics and now you came back and we've evaluated you, we thought you were going to be here and you're here. So we're not playing you until you reach that level. But even though he wasn't at the level they wanted to. I
don't know if he's ever going to get to.
So
that is the right point. I don't know if they're ever going to get to the point where everyone in the organization is like, we're confident.
I think we were led to believe like he's fine. There was no re-injury. He's just getting back in basketball shape. And I think instead what it was he was not able to physically play yet. Like, yes, if it was a playoff game, he probably would have played game 1, but he clearly wouldn't have been 100%. So to me, this idea that there was a plan, like I think this was all masking the fact, and especially if he plays tonight.
Yeah.
Like, look,
if he plays tonight, there's no plan. But I agree and disagree with you. Like, I agree that there was no plan, but I am the opposite. Like, I think that he was never re-injured. He was good enough to play, but the Sixers were like, you know what, we're not confident in your ability to start the season and then play now and not get injured. So until you are 100% check every box to our liking, you're not going to go out there. And then the NBA said that's not reason enough to hold somebody out.
I just don't. I think the new reality is he's never going to be 100%. That's we're for the rest of his career. My fear is that we're going to see 80% of peak Joel.
That's the new 100%.
Oh, dude,
80% is the new 100%.
If you told me right now I could get 80% of peak Joel, I would take that in a second.
But I think that's
how many. But
I don't think we're going to get there.
But even if we do, how long do we get it? We could get whatever the new 100% is Joel Embiid, but that may only last for a game now.
Yeah,
but the fact it was
the length that we get that for.
But the fact that the first time we could see it last night when he's supposed to be the most fresh and he looked like that's the concern.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I just like you said, him coming out and looking like that last night was the easiest call any of us could ever see. There was a tiny moment when he came out for warm-ups and like the first time you see him and everyone's cheering,
it's exciting,
you're like, oh, he might actually, like, this might, it might be different. He might snap.
He might cook.
Yeah, the ball gets tipped, Cat hits those threes, and you're like, yes, exactly what I thought it was going to look like.
So his comments after the game were very annoying.
Yeah.
Very annoying.
Go ahead. I know you feel.
Well, because his whole... My fear with Joel is he still doesn't get it. And part of the Olympic experience was he's going to go out there, he's going to understand what he has to do for his body to be in the right position, to be playing his best basketball when it matters the most. And playing back-to-backs after saying in the summer, you're never going to play back-to-backs again, and it being a plan of we're not going to play you back-to-backs, it just reeks to me of still doesn't get it. He should not play tonight. I know that this record sucks, and I know that it's been an annoying start of the season, and you're obviously making the team better. You're making them more watchable. But if the greater good's for the greater good, just sit out.
Also the whole like, oh, I know I said the back-to-back thing, but you know me, I'm just a troll. Like, come on, man.
No, that's the last thing I need to hear.
It's not a funny topic.
It's not.
Like we're talking about your body, your health. Like everybody is like worried about this season, like how it's gonna go. And we spent like a month straight being like, well, he's not gonna play back-to-backs. What does that mean? Like, is it a good decision or is it not? And basically, he's just like, LOL. Like
just kidding.
And
like,
to your point, I don't ever want to be contract focused, but we did just pay you.
Yes.
$198 million contract.
I've never soured on a contract quicker than I've soured on Joel. I know.
Bad.
Listen, look, you're sitting over here. I'm the greatest. I get it.
Yeah, right. Yes.
You nailed it.
From the standpoint of just stick.
I hated that one.
From the standpoint of just stick to something, right? Like you told us you weren't going to play back-to-backs. Just stick to the plan. There is part of me that it's like, okay, if he still says he's good enough to go, he says he's healthy enough to go, I'd like to see him continue to knock off Russ. Like, however, the closer we can get to him being in good game shape as possible. Like, I think him sitting out does kind of set that back a little bit. So if he's healthy enough to go play, let's knock off Russ.
I'm fine with that. Like, if he plays tonight, like on just a basic level, I'm fine with that. I think it's actually encouraging if he can play back to back. Like, but the issue is they've spent a month telling us it isn't a big deal if he doesn't play back to backs. He's actually probably not going to play a bunch of games. There was that whole article about how they're like going to manage him differently.
We have Paul George,
and now the first time there's a back to back, he's like, first of all, he says if they let me play. Come on, man. Like,
no. He said that first, but he followed up later. Said I can do whatever I want.
Yes. Like,
which is
there is just no answer. There's no direction. There's no.
And I understand.
And they wonder why we get frustrated trying to sift through all of it.
And I understand that it's not an easy thing to message. Like how he wakes up today, they don't know that. Like how his knee's gonna feel. They don't know how it feels. I get that it is a hard thing to message, but then don't act like it was a definitive plan to say that you weren't gonna play back to backs and that you're gonna rest him. And then he just plays. And this is where it sucks too. Like, I want him to play. Like, I don't want to watch a game tonight without Joel. Like, they're going to get smacked by the Cavs without Joel. Honestly, they're probably going to lose either way. But, like, the frustrating thing is you spend a month trying to convince yourself that it's the right thing and that he's going to rest and it'll be good. And then the first time we're presented with that, remember he had the quote and he was like, they're going to have to take my shoes from me or my knee brace or whatever it was, right? Talking about how he'll want to play in these games, but it's on the team to not let him play. So let's see. Let's see what happens. If he doesn't play, then okay, maybe there actually is a true plan here. But if he goes out there and plays, then what has this last month been about?
It all feels like a rudderless ship.
Yeah.
And I don't understand what's so disappointing about everything happening right now is that it feels like it's a chicken with their head cut off down there where they don't know what they're going to get from Joel Embiid, which is kind of how it's always been. But to sit there after the game and say, I'm a troll, haha.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll play. I want to play.
Read the room.
Appreciate it, but
read the room.
But we want the greater good of him being healthy when it matters, and to already ditch the plan because shocking the team sucks without you.
Right.
It drives me nuts.
Now
for me, it still shows doesn't totally get it yet.
Yeah. So here's my question for James and also Jack. But like, if you want, like, why do you think they look so bad? I mean, like, I get that. Also, by the way, speaks to there not being a true plan, because they do not look prepared to play without Joel.
I think
if they knew 2 months before the fact he was going to sit out because this is like the plan, like, well, then why do they look so bad? Like the Paul George thing impacted it for sure. Maxey's out, but they look like they've never practiced or played together.
I think there's a little bit of truth to that, right? That they didn't have as much time to prepare for this iteration of the team as they would like to. But I do think the harsh reality is they're just not, like, they're not good without their stars, right? Like,
but that should be a problem a little bit.
100%. But you have players who, because they've had 2 out of the 3 injured for most of these games. So when you have that, you have players, and I've talked about it, like Kelly Oubre, who's in a spot that he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Right? Caleb Martin is in a spot that he shouldn't be. Kyle Lowry's coming off the bench and being like the second leading scoring guard, right?
Yeah.
Like you have players elevated into roles that they shouldn't be in. When everyone's healthy, if you look at numbers across the board from the role players, like, that's great production from role players, but they're in elevated spots and elevated roles. So that 15 you're getting from Kelly Oubre just isn't impactful.
Well, but it just, to me, feels like Nick Nurse is supposed to be one of the best coaches in the league, right? Like, I'd imagine his pay is up there with the best coaches in the league. Mm-hmm. And I haven't seen...
Well, he's not... It's one thing when you don't have a full deck, but you have the same incomplete deck game after game.
Right.
And I know what I can do. He's literally getting dealt a different deck of cards every single game.
That's fair.
The morning of, and saying, give us a game plan. Give us matchups.
That's fair.
And, have us go win the game. And it's like, who am I going to lean on?
Yeah.
He's had to, out of coincidence, lean on Jared McCain at the end of games, because Jared McCain's just the one who stepped up.
I got a bunch of Jared McCain.
And brought us, there's your victory line for you. But that's the answer to your question, is they look so bad. One, because of who they have and, like, the circumstance. Like, they're doing I think Nick Nurse is doing what he can.
All right, let's get to Jared McCain, because I'm ready to say that Tyrese Maxey is officially old news.
Yeah, this is where we're gonna.
Who cares?
You know who's old news?
I mean, dude,
Reggie Jackson. Why is he here?
Why is he here?
They have the new Splash Brothers, and you're just ready to break them up.
Sure. But I mean,
Flash Brothers.
I like that.
I love him.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
awesome.
The thing that I love about Jared McCain is that he wants the shots. I mean, that's been the most impressive thing. He's 10 games into his rookie year, and in the end of games, they give me the ball.
I think is super impressive is them actually, like, running sets in action for him. Like, you could see throughout the whole game last night, Jared McCain and Embiid kind of setting up this 2-man game, and then in the fourth, like, it was clear out the side. It's Embiid and McCain. Like, I think they ran like 3 straight dribble handoffs between each other, just trying to see something. Jared McCain ended up getting a layup out of it. Like, that's super impressive.
I agree. I think so. I wish I knew when I scouted him on YouTube that he was such a big TikTok star, because I genuinely believe the fact that he has so much self-confidence shows up on the court in that way. Like, when he has the ball in his hands at the end of this game, whether it was the Charlotte game or whether it was last night, I know, like, the game wasn't super close, but, like, he looks like an authoritative ball handler. Like, he's not out there just, like, trying to figure it out, like, taking a back seat. He looks like he to me looks like someone that's always been the best player where he's played, and he's assuming that will.
Like, I know where I need to be on the floor.
Exactly.
There were times at the end of games, and this is something we're gonna have to see, because Paul George clearly still thinks I'm a guy.
Into the Charlotte game,
late game situation. Even before the game got out of hand last night, like, he's coming up the court trying to move Jared McCain off the wing, and Jared McCain's like, no, give me the ball.
Right.
You go to the other side.
Which I like.
Of the court, which, hey. Well, when you miss back-to-back game-winning shots, like, no, you go to the other side of the court.
The game-winning shot he took against Charlotte was disgusting.
It was pretty.
I mean, like, also not to kill Nick Nurse, but, like, that's what you got. And I also thought
you have a wing shot creator. Usually a good play out of, to get a last shot. Everyone clear out, let Paul George create and get his own shot.
Well, but on that play, I actually thought he got the ball with momentum going towards the basket, and I thought it was like a somewhat concerning physical decision he made, that he would rather step back instead of keep going. But maybe we're diving a little too much into two games.
Well,
how do you guys think Paul George has looked?
Slow.
Last night was encouraging. It does look slow, but last night was encouraging. The fast start. He had his best half as a Sixer, and it was in the first half, which is what I would. Always good to see him play late at the end of games, but he hasn't started well in pretty much any game he's played this year. So him getting 17 in the first half last night, I thought was good.
My concern with Paul George is, like, look, when he's making threes, he'll be awesome. What did he make, 7 of 11 last night, or 7 to 10? Everyone keeps comparing him to Toby. And it's like, well, he's better than Toby. And it's like, yes, he's definitely better than Toby. He does a lot of little things Toby doesn't do, number one. But also, just like some of those threes he made last night, Toby is never making those shots.
Well, he's not even taking those shots.
Right, he's not even taking.
Yeah, the walk up between three, like Toby.
I'm a little like, and I'll probably back off this take, but I'm a little worried.
It's a good way to throw the take out there.
Thanks, yeah. I'm a little worried he's not like a can carry the offense guy, and he's more like a has to make threes to be good guy.
He's a supporting star. Like,
right.
And I talked about this in one of my daily pods. There are so many times where I look at the game when the Sixers are on a scoring drought, and I'm like, now is when Paul George gets you a bucket.
That's my worry.
Like, now is when Paul George brings you out the shooting slump. He doesn't do that, but the minute Jared McCain gets going, or Maxey gets going, or Embiid gets going, now Paul George is there as like the supporting scorer.
The problem is, does he view himself as a complimentary guy? Because he's probably best suited in a complimentary.
In situations, yeah, like he talked about all training camp about he can't wait to be a supporting star, supporting role player. But then
you know what Joel said all training camp? I'm going to sit back to back, and don't worry about me. You won't see me out there.
Circumstances change. I do think he sees himself as a support until it comes to late game situations, and he's like, I'm a bucket getter. Time to go get a bucket, and he doesn't do it.
But here's the problem too. Like, they need him to be more than a complimentary guy. Like, this idea that players are complimenting Joel.
Right now they do, but when this iteration got put together, no, they didn't.
But this iteration that you're speaking of like, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I hear you.
I get your point, but like, I think it's pretty clear that the Joel knee thing, as Jack has said, is going to be a thing for the rest of his career, but definitely this year. So you're right. When this like mythical game happens, when all three are playing at 100%, yes, I agree. But the majority of the time, Paul George is going to have to be more than a complimentary guy. And I'm not sure he looks like, I thought he had like a really quiet 27 or whatever.
It was good in the first half, and then the Clippers fans tried to warn us about this, right? About him kind of like just going ghost and kind of falling out of the flow of the game, and he did that.
Not an alpha,
man.
This show was on that earlier. Letting everyone know this show is on
Pandemic P. What a difference in nicknames.
Yeah, but back to McCain real quick.
Jack's new guy.
We did get off McCain really quickly.
Way too quickly, because of all the things that are so demoralizing about being a Sixers fan, he just provides so much hope in a way, and he's so fun to watch. He is a classic guy like the Heat draft. And he's not that athletic, but somehow he knows how to play basketball. Well, I just want guys to know how to play basketball.
The thing I probably underestimated with McCain is he's played against more athletic guys his whole career. And so he knows how to still
exactly. Yeah. What I think I underrated the most about him, and I think is at this moment I realized I was probably wrong.
Yeah,
which is fine.
It's always in this moment.
I like being wrong about good players, about players that was down.
You're just rooting for the better of the team.
Exactly. Except with the Eagles, but is that he was like far and away the best player in California, in high school, like the high school circuit. And California's not here. I mean, PA is fine, but you know what I mean.
I mean, it's a big state.
It's a different kind of being the obvious best player in California means just different. It means more than here. Yeah. So him dominating it does. I mean,
I'm just curious.
I just think
California
that dominating
basketball state.
Well, yeah, Los Angeles is huge.
True.
I mean, a lot of the best.
Cali. I think I would put it above PA, but yeah, I would say Cali's like top 5 or 6.
I just think that it's a huge state.
Yeah,
LA's a big market, obviously from that standpoint, and him being the best player in the state meant something.
So three state championships.
Yeah, especially because he's shorter. If you're 6'8" in high school in California, it's probably easier to dominate.
Yeah. Gatorade Player of the Year.
But being the 6'2" guard, TikTok star,
TikTok boy. I actually love TikTok boy as a nickname.
I hate it. I
think if you embrace it.
Someone in the crowd last night kept calling him Nails every time he
Nails.
I like that.
Nails.
That's pretty good.
If you can embrace it, I thought that was. I'll drop like the nail painting emoji whenever Jared.
That is good.
Jared McCain plays well. But to your point of him being a TikTok star and catching that hate, like there's not a place that Jared McCain has gone since he started this TikTok journey in high school where he doesn't get chirped about it.
For sure.
Or someone doesn't say something. So even if he plays bad, even if he goes through a stretch and he starts to hear that online, it's not going to be new to him. It shouldn't rattle him. He's heard that everywhere he's gone.
All right, let me get this take out of the way too.
Right.
I would not trade Jared McCain.
No.
Like, there's going to be talks of, like, trade him now. His, like,
it's the same mistake people made with Maxey.
Yes. Like, look, I want the Sixers to win the title this year. And I understand if you trade McCain for whoever, right? Like, a more win-now player. I get the logic of that. But I'm not doubling down on the Joel Embiid and Paul George window. I
agree.
Because what McCain is showing is, like, McCain could be a really good player for this team for, 8+ years or whatever. Like,
I was on the train of trade McCain before the season started, but it was a clean slate before the season started.
Right.
And there was two things that could be shown. One, the Sixers look like they can contend this year right now with PG, Embiid, and Maxey, or McCain looks good and looks like he can help be part of our future. Which one kind of presents itself first? McCain presenting himself as part of our future core and someone that can help us far is presenting itself more than this year window of PG, Maxey, and Embiid.
The tough thing is I don't know if McCain and Maxey is a backcourt.
Probably not, but I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Lillard...
Well, the current plan's not working.
I mean, Jared McCain's showing that he can be a really good off-ball guard. Like his catch and shoot ability is really good. He's playing off Embiid well. Like, it can work.
I mean, Lillard and McCollum didn't win the ultimate prize out there, but they were a good team in the West for
conference finals, right?
I was thinking about this when Spike was trying to talk ball with me.
Yeah, you had to educate him.
He was out of his element. But he kept being like, they never won it with Lillard. But, like, the Sixers never won it with Embiid. I get his point that they were maybe never true contenders, but the Blazers were one of
I love that Blazers team.
Yeah, like they
Western
were...
Conference Finals to me is one of the 4 teams left.
Oh, start the parade.
Yeah.
An NBA Cup championship and a Western Conference and Eastern Conference Finals appearance.
Like, I will take a Lillard and McCollum duplicate.
Sure.
And then you figure it out around them. But like,
the Sixers have gone.
Yeah. I think this is probably where Jack is. Like, I'm just more excited about watching McCain and Maxey than I am, like, dealing with the pressure of all the Embiid baggage and is he going to play? Is he not? Are they going to win it this year? It's just something nice about watching, like, a young, fresh player, like,
who looks like he's not burdened by all this pressure and all this stuff.
10 years of pain on his face.
Exactly.
No, he's a bit of a fresh start for an organization that hasn't really felt like they've had it in a while. Him and Maxey are breath of fresh airs, and Maxey again, he's now old news. But every time, I'm actually surprised now.
Injury prone Maxey,
dude. Way too injured. He's 24. Come on, and enough.
He does miss sometime, but
last year he was sick. Like, come on, what are we doing?
Dude,
I love flu game and the Maxey sickness.
I do love that there are some injuries that you don't approve of. Like, you just can't miss time for it.
He's too young.
Random thought. I thought Maxey last night, like, on the sideline, was such a definition of, like, he looked like money now.
Oh, yeah.
You can tell when a brother gets paid.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Well,
like,
also...
Of last, like, 2 years ago, he's not playing. He's got, like, the team-issued sweats on or whatever.
But it's also him... Not like wanting to be in the spotlight, but you can tell your diamonds 100%. Are dancing. You got the Cartier frames on. Like, he's standing up on the sideline with the paper in his hand.
He's on another level.
He knows the cameras are all going to hit him when he's standing up. Yeah, it's asserting yourself.
Speaking of outfits last night, I think it's important to bring this up.
Always.
Did not like AI wearing Knicks colors.
Okay, so actually...
I think he was totally oblivious to what he was doing. I think he's totally oblivious to what he was...
No shot.
You think Allen Iverson is that mindful when he
you could have a million color combinations. What are you going orange and blue for?
One, he probably didn't pick out his fit, probably got a stylist. Two, he looked at that fit and was like, this is crazy. When you blow all your money on clothes throughout your career, you get a stylist, you make sure someone's...
I think he was matching his Astros hat.
Yeah,
now
it was
choose a different hat.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg? But like,
it was for the fit.
I think you're probably right. Like, don't wear orange.
The Astros beat the Phils in the World Series 2 years ago. Does Allen Iverson understand that?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, he still thinks about that catch. Yeah,
is he thinking about Game 5? I mean, if Brandon Marsh puts the ball in play and doesn't strike out, they probably win that ball game.
He's just sitting on the courtside last night, going over the person next to him, like, think about it. Yeah.
You didn't have any more thoughts? All right.
I did have one more. Big picture. Like, do you think they'd fire Nurse in season?
No.
I mean, you laugh about it, but
of what in this could Nick Nurse control?
Well, but listen,
he's a win-now team that I think...
what in this situation could Nick Nurse
Here's the thing.
control?
Coaches get fired all the time when it's not their fault. I'm not even saying it's his fault. But if they fall to... So what are they, 2-8 now, right? Yes. They'll probably be 2-9.
Ugly.
Like, let's say they get to, I don't know, 5-17. Or like,
5
at a certain point, I do wonder, like, do you try something?
I mean, he's been disappointing this year. I know that you can take a lot out of his hands. I get that.
Yeah.
But they do have enough. They've been almost not showing up in these games.
No,
it feels
I
like
hear
he's
you.
pouting.
They have inexcusable losses, right?
Yeah.
Like, gotta beat Detroit. Gotta beat someone.
Dude, they
gotta be Charlotte.
by Charlotte.
Yeah, you gotta be Charlotte.
Yeah.
But Charlotte's like as much of a trap game as you can get in the NBA. Like, you got the West Coast swing. You got the Embiid return 2 days later.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I low-key forgot the Sixers were playing Charlotte until Saturday night. Like, oh my God.
But I
And
think
you're like, I gotta get down
I gotta get to the game. I gotta get to the
gotta
stadium
see
tomorrow.
LaMelo Ball.
there's only so many cards the Sixers can play. Like, they're not trading Paul George or Embiid. They're not trading Maxey. They could trade McCain, but at this point, I don't.
No, untouchable.
Right.
Yeah.
So the only card they have to play if they need a jolt of something is to fire Nick Nurse.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then are you doing something just to do something?
Yes,
Are you
that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I don't know if that's productive.
I'm not
Change something just to
disagreeing with
change.
you, but
You're
But I do
too
hear you.
early.
Like, spark, you gotta try to spark something.
Well, I think the spark would be start putting out of the fan base. We're going to go capture the flag.
Capture the. Honestly, I've heard a couple of names for getting Cooper
capture
flag.
the flag.
That's the best
This is
one.
Jack's specialty.
Capture the flag.
Flunk
Capture
for
the
flag
flag.
was one of them. I was like,
Nah,
that's not juice. That's not creative enough.
No.
Capture the flag.
And there's also something nostalgic about capture the
Yeah,
flag.
it's
It makes
perfect.
me want to go out to recess.
Yeah.
There would be no more Sixers thing to happen than they tank. They sit Embiid, they sit Paul George, whatever. Somehow it all works out, and then they end up with a 6 pick, and it goes to Oklahoma.
So wait,
City.
I was gonna say, does the NBA allow the Sixers, even if they do capture this one of the worst records, do they allow them to win the lottery?
What's the 12% chance?
Yeah.
Well, somebody clarify this for me. If they get the number 1 pick, they keep
It's
it.
theirs, yeah.
Yeah,
Top
okay,
5
so
protect.
It's top 5. Okay,
Yep.
that's what I thought. Okay.
But they're gonna get the 6th pick if they do tank and go through all that.
Well,
I think the NBA goes.
They're going to pick like 18th.
I think the NBA goes like 84 draft. And it's like, even if the Sixers do get one of the highest chances, we're not rewarded.
Well,
with Cooper
What's
flag.
your guys' level of concern that this might just not like get going? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
think that was the theme of this entire podcast.
no, but I'm saying like we talked about Embiid, no, but I think deep down we would, or at least surface level, all of us would probably be like, they're going to make the playoffs. They're probably going to be like a 6. Do you guys think there's any shot this is gonna not make the playoffs? Like,
I was about to say, define not get going. Not
Yeah,
make the-
I
I don't
not
think
make
there's
the
a
playoffs.
chance that they don't make the. I don't think any person in the organization, if they can help it, lets it get to that point of.
they might not be able to help it.
Like, if they can't, if
bad things
injuries
spiral out of control,
if
like
injuries pile up and they can't help it, then that was going to happen anyway with injuries. But I think if they really start to see themselves bottoming out, there's a sense of urgency that, like we saw last year, of like we got to at least get the 7th seed. Like we got to at least give ourselves a chance to make something.
But last year they got off to at least like they started to struggle once Embiid got hurt. Last year weren't they like 40 and 10?
They were the best team in the NBA.
Yeah,
for the first
like
month.
maybe I'm thinking of the Phillies record, but like
well, they were hot.
yeah, no, but I'm saying like last year the Sixers started well.
No, they started really well.
This year I
guess
I have
I
like
just-
a 20% worry this is going to spiral.
I guess I have a belief that I could see them. I could see the first half of the year being like this, being under 500, and then I guess I would expect like a 10 out of 12 stretch.
Yeah,
we also have to look
I don't know
at
if that's going to come.
context
not?
of the rest of the league matters too. There's only really like one team in the East that's got things shored up right
They've
now,
gotten
and they
very
just,
lucky.
And they just lost to the Hawks last night.
Yeah, they've
right?
gotten very, very
but
lucky.
The Knicks, outside of playing the Sixers, have looked up and down. The Magic don't have Paolo Banchero. The Cavs are off to a hot start, but people
Frauds.
have their worry about the Cavs. The Pacers are sputtering themselves right now. The Bucks are an abject disaster. You know what I mean? Like the Sixers really have one or two teams in the East right now that are looking head and shoulders better than them.
Would
Take advantage of that.
Would the forward thinking thing to do be try to trade Joel right now?
For what though?
2 months after giving them this
What do you think
big
you
contract.
get for him?
I don't even
I
know.
think that is why that's a reason why you can't really like seriously think about that, because I think his value in the league is very down.
Yeah, I'm
Who's
not
trading
sure.
for Joel Embiid right now?
Right.
So
Okay, see.
I would think that. I mean,
maybe. Yeah, but like the timeline of when
By the way,
Chet comes back and when Embiid is fully healthy may be the same. It's too much.
SGA and Embiid on the same team would be
yeah.
a nice,
Yeah, we get it.
I was
You were-
right
you were
about
right.
that. I was right.
But you also said trade Embiid for SGA.
So I also said, well, I don't. I think everybody would do that now. I didn't think
Are you just subtly working in the things you're right about on this podcast?
Yeah. Well, look, I gotta do something
It's
to
the
make myself
ESP
feel
Victory
better.
Lab.
Yeah.
It's the Victory Lab episode.
Remember the take of I would trade the Sixers roster for the Rockets roster?
Yeah, got to back off that one.
Did I? I don't know. I'll have to look.
Are you backing off? Are you still
I
want
just
the
think
Rockets?
the Sixers
Well, who
are
are the
really
Rockets
Sixers.
core? Who are the Rockets?
Yeah,
core?
it's a good point. That was a bad.
You want Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, and Hassan Thompson?
At least they play.
Oh,
that was a blast.
The
Gut punch.
best-
That was a gut
the
punch.
best
They play.
ability is availability. Is that what you're gonna say next?
It is.
That was
Should they start?
nasty.
Should they start Yabusele?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
He's the boy. I love him.
All right, so Yabusele over Andre Drummond. You're there,
dude. Andre Drummond stinks. I told you guys.
I don't think he stinks.
He should be the small ball.
Andre
5.
Drummond is my. I don't have an eye for ball because like I watch him and I'm like he seems fine to me. And everyone on Twitter is like, oh, he's the worst
terrible.
thing. Yeah.
It's like, well, I don't know. He does the things that no one else on the Sixers does.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
so we
but
need
he gets burned in the pick and roll.
Okay,
You
dude.
got to be able to guard the pick and roll.
Yabusele gets bullied down.
But he shoots a 3 every once in a while.
really
Yabusele had a bad game last night.
I know.
really
People
does
forget that he did not play well last night.
look a lot like Ben Wallace.
He looks. I love.
He really, really does.
He's a good player. Before we get out of here, James Jackson, Nova lost to St. Joe's last night.
Oh, yeah,
what a
let's
fall
talk
from
about
grace
it.
for what a great program. That
Where it's tough. It's tough
Is
right
Nova
now.
cooked? Like I don't really follow him.
I wouldn't say cooked. I would say we are probably the team that is having the toughest time transitioning to the new style of NCAA with a lot of one and dones, with the NIL, with players asking, "What do you do for me?" Not "What can I do for you?"
Not the Nova way.
Nova is a program built on
Or the
you come here
JFK
freshman
way.
year, and by senior year, you're a star player.
It's a
in
good
the
way to
country.
get the C-level recruits.
And we're,
working hard.
Yeah.
Hey.
That's a good pitch. You have to stay here all 4 years.
Yeah.
It's
You're not going to
not-
play the first.
You're going to
two.
work really hard. It's not about you.
I mean, think about it. The very first year of this, we had Cam Whitmore, and it's just like when you have a McDonald's All-American, you got to know how to deal with that, and that Nova's not the traditional program.
The thing that stinks is that if Nova really does bottom out, I mean, college basketball in Philadelphia is beyond
We're out of rough
dead.
spot. We're out of.
I also
we're out
think
of
what
real
it
rough
does
spot.
is
when we win the Big Five Classic coming next month.
Yeah, dude, can't
I'll
wait.
circle back to this conversation.
That'll be a big.
I know you. Well, Jack, you're a huge Big Five guy. I saw the picture get put out, so we'll see.
Jack Fritz is Philadelphia.
We'll see you there.
I will say it does make me appreciate the job Jay Wright did. Like
And John Chaney.
clearly
and
took
all
a
these-
small time program and turned them into a big deal. Like,
did.
yeah,
He did.
it's impressive.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Do you know who the coach was that won their first title there?
Oh, if you
At Villanova,
Yeah.
against Georgetown.
Yeah.
the fact that you know it's against Georgetown,
That's big.
is very impressive.
I
How
know.
do you
I
not know
don't
the coach?
know who.
Come on.
The Nova coach? Why in the world would I know the Nova coach?
You knew who they played.
Well,
I'm
yeah, because
surprised
it's
you didn't play.
Georgetown, and there was like Patrick Ewing.
Well,
and John
Georgetown, that's a
Thompson.
small time program.
Georgetown's not
Who
a
was
small
Georgetown's coach?
Wasn't it John Thompson?
Okay, so then.
Well, that's a big time coach.
so was
if
Nova's
it was
coach.
Jay, who was it then?
Raleigh.
I don't know who that is. Yeah, come on. What's
Raleigh,
his first name?
Raleigh Massimino.
Dude, you're-
Oh,
Raleigh is his first
Okay.
name. Raleigh Massimino.
You're almost 40.
Why would I know the Nova coach from?
Because it's about respecting the history of the city, Elliot. That's why.
college.
Jack knows it. Jack didn't even go to a Philly school.
I can't believe Jack knows it. Number.
I know.
Jack knows ball. It's a beautiful game.
No, I know an absurd amount about Philly sports. I know I don't show that on the air every
It'd
day.
be a good
know a lot
nickname
about
for you.
The Prof.
The Hammer.
That's a good way to end it.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm not that arrogant. 215-592-9494.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, we're back. We're back. There's so much class.
I do feel it's funny. Like we record once a week. Me and you come in and just like everything's doomed. It all sucks.
I'm trying to keep things afloat.
Yeah,
and
every
every
day is like a half
podcast.
hour.
It's
Like,
just
well, here's how they could turn it around. We come in like, nah, they're good.
We're taking the mantle. We started.
No,
this
I've been very negative in the daily. Not very, but I've been pessimistic in the daily.
Good for you.
We started this podcast with the idea of saving the Sixers. We're giving up.
yeah.
That's done.
That could be another positive name for the pod. It'd be funny to see a list of all the names of the pods we do. It's, like, it's over. Pain management.
Yeah,
We're
it
giving
sucks.
up.
No alpha.
Yeah, no alpha.
exactly.
But we're taking the
Hey.
mantle as a negative Sixers.
Win the cup.
podcast.
They're not even gonna win the cup.
We want the cup.
The blue court's cool though.
It's
Way better
the
than the
red
red court, dude.
Yeah.
court. Way better than the red
I hate the
court.
red jersey so much.
Yeah, I don't like
Nah.
it. Well, you can't. I also thought, I didn't want to comment too much, but wearing the red jerseys on the blue court.
Yeah.
That's,
Wear the white jerseys.
Yeah.
Make the Knicks. I guess the Knicks
if
could.
there was a colorblind person watching the game last night, they were tough game for
Very
them.
considerate.
Yeah, hey, man. I have a colorblind cousin.
No one better.
Wow.
So James Jackson's doing a daily podcast, so check out that as
Yeah.
always. And we'll be back sometime with another edition of the Clap Your Hands podcast.